time to make, and it really helps out.
After some time, King Xerxes promoted Haman the Agagite to the highest rank among his officials. All were ordered to bow to him, but Mordecai refused. Day after day, Haman saw his defiance and burned with anger. When he learned that Mordecai was a Jew, Haman's hatred grew deeper. He didn't just want to punish Mordecai, he wanted to destroy all Jews throughout the empire. Haman cast lots, Purim, to choose the day. Then he approached the king with deceitful words.
There is a certain people scattered through your provinces. They live differently and don't follow your laws. It's not in your interest to tolerate them.
The king agreed, giving Haman his signet ring. A royal decree was sent to all 127 provinces. On the 13th day of the 12th month, every Jew, young and old, was to be killed. As the couriers spread the message, Susa fell into confusion. Mourning broke out among the Jews. When Mordecai learned of the decree, he tore his clothes, put on sackcloth and ashes, and wept bitterly in the streets of Susa. Across the empire, Jews fasted, mourned, and cried out as their destruction had been sealed. When Esther heard Mordecai was in mourning, she sent a messenger to him to find out why. Through the messenger, Mordecai urged her to go before the king and plead for her people. But Esther was afraid. She replied,
"No one may approach the king without being summoned. The penalty is death, unless he holds out the golden scepter. And I haven't been called for 30 days.
Mordecai's answer to the messenger was bold.
Do not think you will escape in the palace. If you stay silent, deliverance will come from somewhere else, but you and your family will perish. And who knows? Perhaps you were made queen for such a time as this."
Esther's fear gave way to faith. She replied,
Go, gather all the Jews in Susa, fast for me for 3 days. I will go to the king, even if it costs me my life. If I perish, I perish.
On the third day, dressed in her royal robes, Esther courageously entered the inner court of the palace. The king saw her standing there and extended the golden scepter toward her. With relief and hope, Esther touched the tip of the scepter. Then the king asked warmly, "What is your request, Queen Esther? Even up to half the kingdom, it will be granted." Esther replied,
If it pleases the king, come to a banquet I have prepared for you and Haman.
The king smiled, intrigued by her invitation, and readily agreed. And both he and Haman attended Esther's banquet.
That's all we're going to see today.
Yes, that's all.
And we'll see the end of it. So let's talk about Haman for just a minute. They believed, like they said, Haman was an Amalekite, and the Amalekites had been enemies of the Jewish people since the days of Moses. You guys remember when Moses took the Jewish people out of slavery, and they wandered in the wilderness, and then they went to the Promised Land, and they had to fight enemies? One of those enemies were the Amalekites. So the Amalekites and the Jewish people were always enemies. So they believe that Haman was an Amalekite, although they're not 100% sure. Again, we don't know exactly where he came from and why he was put in charge. But here's the thing, kiddos. Once again, Esther, who's a godly woman, trying to do the right thing, and she finds herself in a situation where we have a man who's evil and wicked, and he wants to get rid of all the Jewish people. So the Bible tells us when he decided, okay, I don't like this Mordecai. He won't bow to me. Well, I wouldn't bow to him either, personally, just saying. But it wasn't enough for Haman to want to get rid of Mordecai. He wanted to get rid of all the Jewish people. All of them. So he put out this, he goes to the king. And have you all noticed that this is kind of a pattern with some of these kings where their advisors give them bad advice and they just go ahead and do it anyway? You know, didn't that happen with Daniel in the lion's den? Yeah, so that's a problem, huh? So he's like, oh, these people, they're different from us. And you know, they don't obey your laws, which was not true. The Jewish people followed the laws, but they also followed God. Okay? So he lied. And you don't need him in your kingdom. So what he did, and this happened probably in April or May, based on the calendar of the day. And so Haman set up a date which would be the following February, March, that there would be a day when they would set upon the Jewish people and kill them all. So they had a specific time frame, and it was probably about 10 months from the time that the order went out. So can you imagine, Jackson, turn around, listen. Can you imagine seeing this thing that 10 months from now, we're going to wipe all you out? So now you have 10 months to think about it. How bad is that? How bad is that? But you know, God was working behind the scenes. And God knew what he had to do to rescue his people again. Put the phone away, please. So, God had a plan. So when Mordecai saw this rule, this thing that was going to happen, and everybody was shocked and surprised and upset and crying and not knowing what to do, because there was nowhere for them to go. What were they going to do, right? And that's when Mordecai sent the message to Esther, and he's like, you know what? Maybe you're in the position you are right now as queen because God knew this was going to happen. And it's up to you to do something. So once again, we find a godly person put in a position where they have to do something really scary. And I've told this to you kids so many times that it's so important to understand that many times we're going to be in a position where we have to do something that's really scary. Because that's what God needs us to do. Remember, I've told you many times when I've talked with God, and when I've gone through hard times, and God's like, I can find anybody to do the easy stuff. I need people willing to do the hard stuff.
I could do the hard stuff.
God's looking for people to do the tough stuff, the stuff that takes effort, the stuff that he needs you to do that's hard and scary.
Good job.
Sometimes you're going to be asked to do that. When I was in high school, and you all are going to think this is funny, and that's okay. The scariest thing to me was when we had speech class. We had to write out these speeches, and do y'all do that now, or yeah, you do that? Okay. Okay.
Oh my God.
Hated it.
I hated it.
Hated it. Absolutely hated it. So we had now back in my day. Okay, we didn't have computers. Okay, just go with me here. Okay. But we had these little index cards, and so we had to write out a speech in a certain order, and then we had to stand in front of the class and do that speech, and we were graded on it. And they did at a certain point, I think when I was a sophomore or junior in high school, where they actually taped it, so they videotaped you doing it. Hated it.
What?
Hated it. Because I didn't like getting in front of people and speaking. I know that sounds weird. I told you you would find it funny. Back then, I didn't like doing that. I was really shy.
Advocate for yourself.
What's that?
For us, it was for us when we did that my sophomore year.
Oh.
We had to get
No, with our
a time gap, 5 minutes. If you go over, you didn't pass.
It was all
What?
You didn't pass. So you had
That
to-
was pretty cool.
Does that camera actually work? Oh yeah. That's sick. Is it 360 cam? It's 360.
It was always with permission,
I don't know what that
obviously.
means.
And we did videotaping back then, yes.
Oh, no. Yo, Miss Ellie, let's still do it.
Not for a while yet.
We miss Shelly.
Yes.
We used to stand up in the middle of a class, because I was in his class, and we used to stand up and like talk.
Yeah. So anyway, that was me back then. I was very shy, and the idea of getting in front of people and talking was like terrifying. But, you know, I did it, and I guess I did okay. I survived. Here I am. Now I don't mind at all. But, you know, that's a thing called growth. You know? Now talking in front of people to me is easy. But anyway, my point is, kids, pay attention. Listen. There will be times when God says He needs you to do something. He's looking for people that are willing to do the hard stuff, the scary stuff, the stuff that matters. What Esther did or didn't do was going to matter to a whole bunch of people. Right? So she fasted for 3 days, and when we say fast, what that means, when people fast, what they do is they don't drink water or eat food for 3 days. You've heard of people, you might have heard it in the church, of people fast and pray. And what that means is they don't eat or drink, or sometimes they might just drink water and not eat any food for 3 days.
I know.
And what that does is they're ignoring their physical body for those 3 days so they can pray to God and get direction and guidance from God. Now, when you do this is something you need to be aware of. This is only something you do with God's direction. You don't just randomly do it.
Is this what religion is this you're talking about?
What's that?
Is there a religion where you're talking about? Because there's one religion where they do that.
Yeah. There are many different religions will do this. Our faith, people will fast. And fast doesn't necessarily mean food, but in this instance with Esther, it did mean food. So Esther fasted for 3 days, and here she knew that if the king didn't welcome her, he could have her killed.
Oh.
So she knew that she was putting her life in danger to fight for her people. Because I want you to remember, she still had not told anybody she was Jewish, and that was from Mordecai's direction and instruction. So she fasted for 3 days, and then she went to the king. The king saw her, he welcomed her. Isn't that amazing? She hadn't been called by the king for like a month. Yes, Kabard? What's that? I know. So she goes to the king. And obviously, during those 3 days that she fasted, God help her come up with a plan. You guys won't know what that plan is till next week. But Esther had a plan. She goes to the king, and she says, hey, I'm going to make a banquet, a fancy dinner, and I want you and Haman to come to this banquet. And the king's like, okay. All right, that sounds good. All right, let's do that. But you notice what the king also said? Did you catch that when he said, when Esther first approached? And he said, you can have anything you want, up to half the kingdom. In other words, he was willing to give her whatever she wanted. That's God. That's God. And I'll tell you something. God can do amazing things in your life if you're willing to step out in faith and do what He's asked you to do. Even when it's scary. Maybe there's a new kid in school and it's a little scary. Hang on, my radio's being weird. Maybe there's a new kid in school and they need a friend, but you're kind of nervous about meeting them because you don't know them. And it's a little scary, maybe? Yes?
I'm never scared to go out and meet new people.
Yeah. And sometimes it can be a little scary. Some people it's a little scary to meet new friends. Yes? You were more shy, yeah. And sometimes the more you meet people and stuff, the less shy you get. But sometimes it can be scary. And it also can be a little scary trying to tell somebody about Jesus, right? Yeah. I was made fun of in high school because I talked about Jesus. Yes?
I was trying to talk about Jesus to my best friend because she goes to church, but she just goes to okay, but also her parents just
Yeah. So it can be scary. Yes? There's not a seat over there right now. No, you're okay where you're at. Where do you want to go sit with her? Why do you want to go sit with her? She's going to move the camera because I move all over the place. So, kids, what I want you to think about right now is I want you to think about what God wants you to do. Once again, we have Esther doing the right thing, even though it's scary. Kids, we have to do the right thing. Our memory verse says we know all things. Not some, not most, all. God will take whatever happens in your life and make something good come out of it. It may take a while. And in Esther's case, she had been queen 4 years before this happened. But she had the faith to do the right thing even when it was scary. And that's what I want you kids to remember from today's lesson. Have that faith that God's going to take care of you if you do the right thing. But He's looking for kids and grown-ups willing to do the hard stuff. Willing to do the stuff nobody else wants to try because it's too scary.
Well, it's not scary for me.
He's looking for people like that. Are you one of them?
I'm one of them.
Can you be one of them?
Yes.
That's a question you got to ask yourself. Can you be? Our missionaries go to different countries. And they go and they go to these places to tell people about Jesus, and it's scary work. Some of the places they go, it's pretty scary and it's dangerous. But they have faith in God, and they're willing to step out, and they're willing to go tell people about Jesus, even though it's dangerous and a little bit scary.
But it's not scary for me.
Because there are countries out there that don't like Christians. There are people all over the world put in jail because they're Christian.
That makes no sense.
Well, that's the world we live in, and it's always been that way. We tend to forget that because we live in a country where we can come here, right? We can worship, we can talk about God, we can have Bible studies,
It's a free country.
we can do all these things.
It's a free country.
So much fun.
But not every country is like that.
Even Nigeria.
What's that?
Even Nigeria worship God.
Mm-hmm. But not every country likes Christians.
Huh?
And I could name a ton of them right off the top of my head. China, Turkey, Afghanistan, India,
India?
Russia.
That's where Muslims are at. Muslims?
So if you see Massachusetts.
Not just that. Those are countries where Christians mainly have to worship in secret. So Esther was willing to do the hard stuff. My question to you, are you willing?
Yes.
Are you willing to do the hard stuff?
Yes.
Do you have what it takes?
One day.
If you have God, you have what it takes. But are you willing to do it? You had your hand raised? Okay. Julie? Just put it in your secret. Yes?
The reason I took these off is because I can just easily put in my pocket.
Okay.
It's easier to hold.
Okay.
Last time in 2019 we went to my dad's graduation and it was and I saw snow and my brother was a baby and my sister wasn't born yet.
Ah, okay. All right. So kids, we're going to close today with that thought.
What?
And we're going to go to prayer here in a minute. And what I want you to think about, are you willing? Are you willing to do what God calls you to do, even when it's hard? Are you willing to stand up for Jesus? Are you willing to be fearless? We learned that at camp, but that's something we've been teaching for months now. The importance of being fearless. That'll be next year. That's another discussion. Yes, you are going next year.
I'm going there for free.
All right, so I need everybody. We're going to get in an attitude of prayer. And if you can't do that, I'm going to ask you to leave the room. I'm serious. Prayer is not something we take lightly. Prayer is something quite serious. So what we're going to do is we're going to dim the lights. And I want everybody to find a place of prayer in this room.
I already called it. I already called it.
So Tristan, this is your first time you can kneel at the altar.
This isn't social time. It's time to find a place of prayer.
Amen.
Everybody.
Great job, everybody. Kabari.
And you older boys, right now, I'm telling you right now, I need you to leave if you're going to do this. I'm serious. If we can't get serious and put the deal in enough,
Talk
then I want you out
to
of here.
Jesus. Talk to the Lord.
I'm not kidding. Don't excuses. This is prayer time. This is serious stuff. And I need you kids to take it seriously.
Are we ready in the front?
Not yet. This is your private time of prayer. So I need somebody to find a place to pray privately, and I don't want you crawling all over the place. Find a place and stay there. Do not be a distraction to other people. This is serious stuff, kiddos. We're talking to God, the Almighty God. It's important that we do this, and you should be doing this at home. I'm going to find some music here, and then we're going to have some private time of prayer. And then we'll come together for prayer, all of us, okay?